Yeah, that's probably smart.
All right, welcome to the third edition of the Texas Strangers featuring David Carson and my good partner,
Kirk Jones.
Kirk, we had a great weekend. We're doing this on a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday, so right now we're waiting for the rankings to come out. We're going to make our bold prediction of who should be in the top 4.
And then next we have Tony Romo talking about how Dak Prescott deserves to be the starter.
That had to be a hard interview. It was a hard interview to watch. And then we're going to go into Lone Star Baseball, follow that up with some more NFL football, what went on this week. Can you believe Minnesota said, hey, we're going to cut our kicker? Of all the things we have, let's get rid of a kicker.
Let's cut our offensive line.
But that's what we're going to do. Then we'll wrap this all up. Brad came up with a section called In My Heart, and we're going to talk about phobias. The Texas Strangers start now.
We are the Texas Strangers, and we're glad to have you. You know, we like things a little strange at times, a little weird. That's what makes us different, and we like it. So if you're still a subscriber, and you're back with us, we're glad to have you. And if you're new, we're glad to have you as well. And just sit right there and listen to something different here. Now here's David Carson and Kirk Jones.
All right, Brad, thank you very much. Doing a great job over there, hitting those switches.
Pushing those buttons.
Hitting those buttons, working it hard. Okay, I'm going to get straight into it. I'm not going to horse around. I'm going to give you my top 4.
All right.
They're really close to releasing their top 4 right now. Okay, so what I went with, number 1, Alabama. Hold on, that's Alabama. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Clemson. Number 4, Louisville.
I had the exact same list, I swear.
Okay, now, I told everybody to give their top 4 before they came in, and we did not share any of our information.
We did not.
Brad, what do you got?
I had Bama 1, Ohio State 2, Louisville 3, and just for the heck of it, I threw in Wisconsin as number 4 because I didn't think that Michigan or Clemson or Washington, who all lost last week, should even crack the top 4.
Okay, well, this just in, as I'm pulling up my website
Power
from the
of
mothership right here. So I'll go ahead and read the rankings of how they came out. This is the official rankings from the committee. Number 1, Alabama. I was right. Number 2, Ohio State. I was right. Number 3, Michigan. I was wrong. Number 4, Clemson.
Wrong.
This had them in the wrong order, but I still had them in the top 4. Does it really matter if you have 1, 3, 4 as long as it's top 4?
I mean, because, well, it depends on which one wants to play Alabama.
I don't think anybody would want...
Well, Clemson, yeah. Clemson would play Ohio State, according to our rankings, instead of Alabama. Would you rather play Ohio State or Alabama?
But either way, Clemson, this is a rematch for last year's national title game. And I think if the season were to end today, I think that's a good matchup.
Absolutely. That's a rematch of last year. I think if you get that in the first round, that's a win-win for everybody.
Well, that would make me okay. Now, I talked about this in the previous episode with Ryan. That last year during they played it on New Year's Eve. Is that when they had
New Year's 6? Yeah. So it was they played the playoff games, and then I think they played 2 or 3 other bowls. But it was the New Year's 6. Yeah.
No, but Michigan State played
Alabama.
Yes.
On December, New
Year's Eve.
Yes.
And that
Oklahoma played Clemson New Year's Eve.
New Year's. One was earlier than one was
right.
Okay, now people go ahead and bash me if you want. I knew Clemson was going to win that game. I didn't care about it. I went and saw the Star Wars movie.
Oh my gosh, you did?
I did. I didn't even take my phone. I left my phone at home. I knew who was going to win, and I didn't even want the updates. And by the time the Star Wars movie was over,
it already finished.
Well, the wrap up with Clemson winning the game was right there.
And David calls himself a true sports guy.
I do, but I'm not. I'm not going to give Oklahoma the ratings.
I think me and Kirk are both disappointed.
I'm not going
to
to give Oklahoma the ratings. I'm not going to give Oklahoma the ratings.
Speaking of Oklahoma, according to my bold prediction market, Brad, but I did have them as making the playoffs, and they're well on their way. Look out for my bold prediction.
I don't see, like, we talked about this pre-show. I don't see, with as many one-loss teams as there are, that a two-loss team, even with both of them being non-conference,
here's my
would get in.
Here's my rebuttal to that. Oklahoma and Michigan still have to play each other. There's a two-loss team right there. So Oklahoma,
Ohio State.
Oh yeah, what did I say? Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Ohio State and Michigan still have to play each other. One of those is going to have two losses. If
True.
Oklahoma wins out, I say you could put them ahead of the two-loss team.
You still got
whether it be Ohio State. Well, if Ohio State wins,
Louisville with one loss, you still got Clemson, you still got Michigan, you still got either Ohio State or Michigan.
Yeah.
So a lot would have to happen for them to get in.
Right, but I think if Ohio State beats Michigan, I think they could get in.
I think a one-loss Washington gets over.
Oklahoma.
I agree.
Think so?
Yeah.
Who's to say? I mean, this is all speculation, obviously, but
yeah.
I don't think Washington clearly could probably not win out. I mean, they still have to play the conference game.
Mm-hmm.
They play Washington State last
game, which is a highly ranked team.
Exactly, and it's at Washington State, I believe.
Right. I mean, Oklahoma.
Arizona State and Washington State is who they have left. Well, Arizona State's kind of
they're all right.
They're
not.
Washington should win that game, regardless.
Washington State, though, is a top 15 team.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it would. I'm not saying they would upset some people if Oklahoma. It would upset a lot of people if Oklahoma made it again. But you can't. If they win out because they play Oklahoma State in Bedlam, that's a huge game.
I know some people were thinking, oh, maybe Oklahoma should be at number 4. I don't think Oklahoma wants to be at number 4 at all.
Now.
If they have to roll against Alabama,
yeah,
you give Nick Saban a month to prepare for that game. I don't think Oklahoma scores.
Oklahoma doesn't have any defense at all.
My truth.
Oklahoma doesn't have any defense. I mean, you saw it against TCU and Baylor. I mean, it was like a 50-point game, and Texas Tech.
Right.
Those games are shootouts. That's what the Big 12 is.
Is it the new Arena Football League?
I don't think so. I mean, you probably could make a case for it just because of all the points, but that's really Oklahoma is not known to be a shootout team. It's really just Texas Tech and Baylor.
Well, no,
they kind of started that trend.
Oklahoma started the trend of running the score up because even with the old BCS, when the computers were doing the system, the more you scored, the higher your index.
But they never allowed 50 points. It was always like 70-5 or 70-3 or 70-10. It was never 55-50.
Yeah, they gave up a safety before they wouldn't have to take the chance of him scoring a touchdown. So agree with that. Okay, so number 5 came Louisville, number 6 Washington, number 7 Wisconsin, number 8 Penn State, Oklahoma's at number 9, and Colorado at 10. And right on the brink of the outside, just because I'm going to say it, 11 Oklahoma State, which is the team that I think if the Big 12 gets a team in, I think it's going to be Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I don't see them getting a team in regardless.
I don't. If like I said, if the Big 12
there was to be one, you think it'd be Oklahoma State.
I think it'd be Oklahoma.
Well, West Virginia plays Oklahoma this weekend. If West Virginia can beat Oklahoma, they'll jump into the top 7.
Yeah, they'll
6 or 7 or 8.
Yeah, they'll jump
they're
up.
What, 8-1 right now? 7-1, 8-1, something
They're
like that.
8-1.
They have one loss.
8-1. Yeah.
Has West Virginia played Oklahoma State yet?
Yes, they handed them a loss. They beat Oklahoma State beat them 37-20. That's the loss.
Okay, so if you look at it that way, if Oklahoma State can beat Oklahoma, they might have a chance at the being in the top
12
4
representative,
right?
Because they've only had one loss, right?
Yes.
And that was in Central Michigan. Was it Central Michigan?
Yeah,
Central Michigan. Yes.
Which
the
was
Chippewas.
Crazy game.
The untimed play and all
That's
that.
That's a half a loss, really. But
it shouldn't have been that close.
Loss?
Well, I mean, it shouldn't have been a win, but it's technically a loss.
That's the Kirk Jones term of the day, a half a loss.
It is. Half a loss. But, I mean, that's a good point. If Oklahoma State can win out, I could maybe see them, maybe sneaking in.
So I was doing a little research over the week, and I found a very strange fact. And we all like obscure, kind of strange facts. If you're ranked number 17, every team that's been ranked 17 has lost this year. So, with that, this week Florida State's going to go down because they are now ranked 17th.
They're playing against Syracuse, a team that Lamar Jackson of Louisville put, I think, 100 points on.
Okay.
But he also put 70 on Florida State. Maybe this is. It seems to be kind of a mixture of. Might happen.
Now,
hope down with dope.
Okay, so here's another great question I have. Lamar Jackson, he's your leading person for the Heisman Trophy. Do you have to have your Heisman Trophy winner in the top 4?
No.
Some people believe that your Heisman Trophy winner has to be in that top 4.
The only reason why I say no is because of Johnny Manziel and Robert Griffin III. Those guys were
RG3 when he was in, we didn't have the 14
right.
playoff.
Only Johnny wasn't there either because the first year was last year.
Well, this was the second year.
Second year, right.
But it didn't matter. He was on that
right
3-4 loss team no matter what.
Was the
Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, Cotton Bowl. So, yeah.
But still, I mean, they weren't on contenders for big bowls.
Well,
I think it just depends on the year as well. This year's been so weird as far as like there hasn't really been, coming into the season it was all Christian McCaffrey's going to do well. He kind of busted this year. Leonard Fournette's going to do well. He kind of busted this year as well. So there hasn't, like going into the season, there was all these guys that they were pegging to be Heisman guys, and they've all kind of faded out. And then here comes Lamar Jackson, who nobody.
That's how it always is.
Yeah, nobody was given any credit going into the season, but yet here he is. So I think that has something to do with the way the year has gone. So
on the thing of Leonard Fournette, I think he is a 5-star athlete. And everybody else on that team
is
2 2-star or 1-star because that offensive line is nothing. Their quarterback is nothing. Defense, they might have a little bit of a defense. I mean, they put up a good
LSU
fight.
always recruits good defensively. Offensively, not so much, but defensively,
they put up a good fight against Alabama when they played Alabama. But once again, that's a rivalry game, and everybody gets a little more up for it.
Because I will say that they played Alabama the best that I've seen anybody play Alabama this year.
Okay.
Sneaky Heisman candidate is Jalen Hurts out of Alabama. Same team y'all are talking about. Freshman, taking his team undefeated. The only two undefeated teams, Alabama and I think Western Michigan or Western.
Well, Deontay Foreman, he had another outstanding game this weekend.
He's leading the FBS in rush yards per game. So I mean, he should at least get.
I don't know.
consideration.
I mean, his team's awful.
They're up in there's.
They're not the top 25.
They have the most combined starts by freshmen and sophomores in Division I, 111. So of course they're not going to be as good as everybody thinks they were going to be.
There's an old term called righting the ship. So right now the ship for a long time, for 3 years, the ship was capsized. So slowly this ship is slowly getting. I mean, right now it's the mast, the top of the ship. It's gotten out of the water and it's coming up. It's coming up very slow, but it's not full upright just yet.
I just think that you have to be at least in the top 25 to be considered for a Heisman.
Oh, I would totally agree with it. Yeah.
I mean, because they're not even. I mean, he's a great player, but what is that doing? I mean, it's not doing anything for his team.
Well, Steve McNair, when he was, you guys were
Alcorn
State,
right? I mean, he was a great quarterback, but
didn't win the Heisman.
Didn't win anything.
Right.
But he was probably one of the
right.
Yeah, he was probably the best quarterback coming out.
Even when you had the random guys like Troy Smith that won it. Ohio State wasn't even that good that year.
They went to the national championship.
Not the year Troy Smith won. That was the year
because they lost to Florida. Tim Tebow, Florida.
I'll have to check that because I don't remember that. But okay,
check yourself before you wreck yourself, fool.
Yeah. All right, cool.
All right, yeah. So it is a wide open.
It is.
I'm just still kind of curious of how it's all going to play out. Once again, we got 2 Texas fans in here, myself and Brad. We're sitting at 5-5, and you know what? This week couldn't come any sooner because this week is the week that we're actually going to get our bowl bid because we play Kansas. So
we should get our bowl bid.
Oh man!
Say that way.
Can you imagine if they lost to Kansas?
That would be your.
If they lose to Kansas, they'll fire Charlie Strong on the spot.
That would be your 6th win right there. Then you go, and I just didn't realize it till a couple of days ago that Texas does not have a game on Thanksgiving Day.
They moved it.
They moved it to Friday.
Yeah, ever since they hadn't played A&M every year, Ever since it's TCU, they always play it on that Friday. They never play it on
now
Thursday
for the
anymore.
last couple